Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. My Audible pick for March is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. It's a novel about a coming-to-age slave named Cora who learns about the Underground Railroad and decides to go on a journey. I started listening to this book last week, y'all, and it is really, really good. I'm definitely enthralled in this book so far, so I definitely highly recommend it. Okay, right now Audible is offering my listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Use your free offer to download The Underground Railroad or any of the thousands of titles available on Audible right now and let me know what you think. Just go to audibletrial.com/unicorns talk to get started today. Welcome to Unicorns Talk Podcast, your weekly girl talk about Black women, our healing, and manifestation. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to live, laugh, and learn to love all of life's little messes. While I am a licensed clinician, please keep in mind that this show is not a substitute for your own relationship with a mental health provider. Let's go. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 63 of Unicorns Talk Podcast. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards. I am your life enhancement coach. And as usual, I am super excited to be here with y'all today. Last week was a pretty good week. It was a little hectic, I'm not going to lie. But it was good overall. Last week I was dragging a little bit at the beginning of the week, just trying to catch up. I go through just these ups and downs or whatever. And last week was a little rough in that respect, but I was able to get it together and pull myself up by the end of the week. So I was excited about that. I got some clothes washed and things like that, which absolutely needed to happen because I noticed that when I'm feeling like in an emotional rut, then my space tends to get a little cluttered as well. And that's definitely what was happening. And so I was able to recognize that. And so I really took my time and enjoyed cleaning my house this weekend. I listened to all of my shows, including Black Married Fly podcast, which I just so happened to be the special guest last week. It's a really great episode. Y'all should check it out. Don't forget that the Heart to Heart segment starts on blackmarriedfly.com on Monday. Man, the time goes by so fast. That's crazy. Anyway, it starts on Monday, March 11th on blackmarriedfly.com. I'll be giving y'all a little bit more information about that later on in the show, but I'm super excited about that. So I listened to Black Married Fly. I got caught up on The Read and The Friend Zone and, just a few of my other, I started listening to Amanda Seales' podcast. And what is the name of her podcast? I forget what the name of the show is, but it was my first time listening and I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know why, but for some reason I haven't really, it's called Small Doses with Amanda Seales. I don't know why, but I haven't really gravitated toward Amanda Seales. I mean, I like her, but I'm not like a follower of hers or whatever. But a friend of mine has been telling me about her podcast for a little while now. And so I was washing dishes and stuff, cleaning up my space. And I said, let me listen to Amanda Seales. It was in my recommended, my recommended listens on Spotify. And so I'm glad that I did because I really enjoyed it. She was talking about fame and how fame changes you and like just all different aspects of fame that people don't really think about. And I felt like she brought up a lot of really, really valid points, to be honest. And so anyway, that's pretty much what I did. My week started a little rough, but I was able to get it together and get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? Last week, our topic was standing naked in the mirror, and we talked about what it really means to get naked and to acknowledge and accept what you see. And you all responded very well to that episode. Thank you so much to everybody who listened and downloaded. If you haven't listened yet, make sure you go ahead and do that or whatever. And let me know how you do with that homework. Okay. I had asked my villagers the same question, if they've ever gotten naked and if so, what did they see? And the response was really, really interesting. interesting. I had a lot of people talked about their fears. They saw their fears. Some people talked about, how they saw like the different goals and things that they're trying to accomplish and the things that are stopping them from accomplishing those goals. So it really was a conversation that I'm very proud that we were able to have that conversation. And it's not too late to join the conversation. You can hit me up, slide up in the DMs or whatever. Let me know if you getting naked. You know what I'm saying? If you getting emotionally naked and what that experience has been like for you. Okay. If you haven't already, please be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you're listening right now. You can use the hashtag Unicorns Talk Pod across all of your social media to let me know that you're listening, but make sure that you share it in your stories and share it on your timeline or whatever, because it's very helpful for me, for you to share me with your people. Let them know that, this girl over here doing some stuff that you think they might like. You know what I'm saying? That you like it and you think they might like it. Talk back to me. I appreciate it. All right. As y'all know, I am from New Orleans, okay? And by the time this airs, Mardi Gras will officially be behind us, and that brings in the start of the Lenten season. Now, I a lot of people, I think, don't realize that New Orleans is primarily a Catholic city, because all they hear about New Orleans is voodoo and shit like that. But anybody from New Orleans, like black folk anyway, if you really from New Orleans, they will tell you we don't fuck with that voodoo like that. You know what I'm saying? Not like that. Okay. But Mardi Gras, this is the Mardi Gras season. Like I said, by the time y'all hear this, the Mardi Gras season will officially be over. In fact, this episode comes out on Ash Wednesday, which is the signifies the exact end of Mardi Gras. So the Mardi Gras holiday really has its connection to the church, where people have like this one last big ass party before they go into a period of deep prayer and repentance. And so Christians believe that you're supposed to give something up as a replication of the sacrifice that Jesus made for the 40 days that he spent in the desert. And so during this time, like, most people give up tangible things like cold drinks or sodas or candy and things like that. Like, we sometimes give up things. We're supposed to give up things that have meaning to us in our lives, something that is an actual sacrifice. But a lot of people just kind of give up bullshit stuff. You know what I'm saying? This year, I would like for you to consider giving up something that's going to have a much more meaningful impact on your life. And so today, we're going to talk about 4 things you should give up for Lent that will help you along your personal journey of healing and manifestation. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you should give up for Lent, or that maybe you could consider giving it up, okay, is minimizing your feelings. Minimizing your feelings. Now, I say this all the time, and I really actually do mean this. Your feelings are always valid. All right. And starting from a young age, we are taught to not trust our emotions. We're taught to not trust ourselves. And we're taught that our emotions are not valid. Okay. If a child starts crying and the parent don't want to hear it, we tell them to hush up. If a parent is upset and the child start crying, we tell the child, hush up before I give you something to cry about. You know what I'm saying? Like, from a very early age, we are socialized that our feelings are not important and that nobody wants to hear our feelings. Nobody wants to see our feelings. I actually remember my very first job, fresh out of grad school. I was working at the boys' jail, and my supervisor at the time, who actually, honestly, was one of the best supervisors I've ever had. But my supervisor at the time, I had gotten into it with a colleague because she was trying to flex on me when I was on call, and I wasn't having that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I was talking to my supervisor about it, and I said to him, well, I feel like XYZ. And he said, Latrice, let me stop you right there. He said, whenever you are trying to make a point or you are trying to prove your point or bring people around to your point, he said, don't ever talk about your feelings because don't nobody care about your feelings. And on the one hand, I did feel like that was a very valuable lesson that he taught me in that moment, specifically about how to engage conflict in the workplace. But on a larger scale, he was invalidating my feelings. He was invalidating my experience, and that part of it did not sit right with me. Okay. People are constantly telling you that what you feel or what you need is not important. And over time, we internalize that, specifically, especially Black women, but all people, right? Black women in particular, we are constantly told that we need to be strong and that we can handle it. And this idea that, I don't need no man. You don't need no man. You don't need this. You don't need that. And you are strong. We are strong. But that doesn't mean that our feelings don't matter. And we cannot continue to minimize our feelings for the sake of others. We cannot continue to minimize what we want and what we need on an emotional level from the people and the relationships that exist in our lives so as to not kick up too much dirt. So as to not rock the boat, as they say. All right? So we giving that shit up for Lent. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you give it up for these 40 days and then it becomes a habit. It only takes 21 to make a habit, So you give it up for these 40 days. We are no longer minimizing our feelings. We're not doing it. Okay? So give that up. All right? The second thing that you should consider giving up for Lent is toxic people and toxic relationships. Now, this is a biggie, okay? And I feel like it's something that we hear people say all the time, and we say that we're going to give these people up and these experiences up, but we never really do. We never really do. It's a struggle, especially when we feel a soul tie connection to somebody. It seems like the most toxic ones, we always feel that soul tie connection to them. Them the ones that's the most difficult to let go of, because that toxicity comes from the feeding of a fear. Okay? 9 times out of 10, when you have toxic relationships in your life that you are struggling to let go of or struggling to get yourself out of, it's because they are feeding on a deeply rooted fear that exists inside of you. All right? But here's the thing. Holding on to toxic people and toxic relationships contributes to your emotional downturn. So it's feeding whatever that fear is on both ends of it. Does that make sense? Right? It's feeding that fear from the sense of, I can't let this go because I'm afraid of what letting this go means in my life, what this symbolizes or what this represents in my life that I'm afraid of. And if I let it go, then it's letting go of that thing. It's also feeding your fear because the longer you hold on to it, the more negative emotions you're going to experience and the greater the intensity of those negative emotions. And you're afraid of that too. Okay? I'm holding on to you because I'm afraid of getting hurt. But holding on to you is hurting me. It's intensifying the hurt. Right? So the process of letting go of those toxic people, if that is rooted in fear, if it's feeding off of fear, then as you know, as I've told you several times, that the best way, the most effective way to combat fear is through information. And so you have to identify what the origin of that fear is and resolve it. That is the information that you're missing. You have to be able to recognize and acknowledge, this is what I am afraid of losing. This is what that person represents for me in my life, because it's not about the person. It's about what that person represents in your life. That is where the fear lies. You have to identify that, acknowledge it, and resolve it. Okay? And this 40 days of Lent is the perfect opportunity for you to work through that. Okay? All right. The third thing that you should consider giving up for Lent is holding yourself to the expectations of others. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this particular one because y'all know I've talked about this a gazillion times, but I felt like it absolutely had to go on this list. You cannot hold yourself to the expectations of others, which kind of goes hand in hand with the minimizing of your feelings, right? Holding back on how you feel and invalidating your own feelings for the sake of others. You cannot hold yourself to the to the expectations of other people. Anything that you do has to be because that's what you chose to do. You need to be able to be free to live your life, to be able to do and live the way that you want to do and live. Other people place expectations on you for their own selfish reasons. Now, I'm not saying that if you're in a relationship that you shouldn't give a fuck about what your partner needs, because if you don't, then you won't be in a relationship for long. Okay? But there's a difference between caring about the needs of the people that you love and doing your best to show up for those people and taking those things on as your own and allowing those things to overpower the things that you want and need for yourself. If the needs of somebody else or of the people that you love contribute to the direction that you're going in, if it contributes to you becoming the person that you want to become, which is the ideal situation, then by all means, indulge on your own terms. But if taking on or caring about what they want for you or the person that they want or need for you to be, if that puts you in a position of having to be completely opposite from who you are, if that puts you in a position of direct opposition with yourself, with your natural self, that is a problem. Okay? You cannot hold yourself to the expectations of others. You cannot spend 4 years in college studying something that your mama wanted you to study. Hello, somebody. You cannot get up and go to a job that you hate every day because that's what the expectation of the people, of your family members. They expect for you to be a certain person. They expect for you to make a certain amount of money, and it's making you absolutely miserable. It's shortening your lifespan. You cannot do that. In the immortal words of Stephanie the Life Architect, shout out to Stephanie the Life Architect over at I Said No podcast. I said no. I'm not doing it. I cannot live based on your expectations. I have to be the person that I want and need to be first. And if that person is not sufficient for you, that sounds like a personal problem. All right? So we're going to give up holding yourself to the expectations of others. And then the fourth and final thing that we're going to give up or that you should at least consider giving up for the Lenten season this year is blaming yourself for other people's failures. Now, this is a huge one, okay? And I think it kind of ties into the other ones as well. Blaming yourself for other people's failures. We have a tendency to take on the experiences that we've had and the things that have been done to us as our own. We internalize these experiences and we make them about us. We take responsibility for these things, even when these things really had nothing to do with us. Now, they happened to us, yes. And it's fucked up that it happened to us. But that does not make it our fault. That does not make it our responsibility. When you've had a traumatic experience or a significantly negative experience that has happened in your life at the hands of another person, your only responsibility is to heal from that. and to give yourself permission to heal from that. You cannot take it on. You cannot make yourself responsible for the failures of others, for the traumatic experiences of others. You can't put that on you. You have way too much other stuff that you're carrying around, way too much other stuff that you're dealing with, way too much other stuff that requires your attention. We have to allow people to take responsibility for what is theirs. And they cannot take that responsibility if you step in to take it first. Okay? You have to allow people to suffer the consequences of their actions, even if that's emotional consequences. All right? You can't take it on all the time. It's not sustainable. All right? Give it up. Give it up. All right. So those are the 4 things that I'm recommending for you to consider giving up this Lenten season: minimizing your feelings, releasing those toxic people and relationships, holding yourself to the expectations of others, and blaming yourself for other people's failures. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you giving anything up for Lent? You know what I'm saying? Anything that's deeper than sodas and candy? Let me know how that goes for you. I'm looking forward to hearing what this experience was like for you during our live chat on Instagram Live on Monday night at 7:30 p.m. at Latrice Sampson Richards. If something comes up for you but that you're struggling to process or deal with as you're trying to let these things go for the Lenten season, email me at support@latricesampsonrichards.com, and I'll do my best to talk you through it, or at least get you to a point where you can start working through it on your own. All right. Coming up next is High Five. This episode is also brought to you by the Black Unicorn Project. The BlackUnicornProject.com is an online community center dedicated to the healing and advancement of Black culture and well-being. Go to theblackunicornproject.com to check out our take on Black music, finance, current events, and wellness around the world. That's theblackunicornproject.com for a new take on a familiar experience. Today's high five goes to the Academy Award nominated director Ava DuVernay. I always feel like I'm saying her name wrong, but y'all know who I'm talking about, Ava. All right. Ava released a video clip on Instagram last week of a new project that she's putting together called When They See Us. And this is in collaboration with Netflix. It's going to be a 4-part limited series, or as Ava called it, a film in 4 parts. I freaking love this woman. Like, that's awesome and amazing. She is officially telling the story of the Central Park 5, but she's telling the story from the perspective of the 5. And it's like the true story, like who they are as people and what they experience. And the undercurrent of it is that she's going to be talking about, in this movie, she'll be really talking about how the police and people in power, how they see us, not as individuals, but they see us as monsters, and they characterize us as monsters. And I think this is the perfect illustration. The story of the Central Park 5 is the perfect illustration of that. And with Ava behind it, there is no doubt in my mind that it's going to be awesome and freaking amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that. High five to Ava DuVernay for always being willing to take that extra step and for putting herself out there to tell our stories. I really freaking love this woman. You know what I'm saying? Because she's so unapologetic about who she is and the art that she chooses to make. Everything that she has put out, I think, has been intentional. She's been very specific about what it is she wants to represent in her art. And I just love her for it because she is a huge, huge part of the advancement of the culture right now and the healing of our community, to be completely honest. And so I love and appreciate her for that. And I also want to give a high five to Solange. It's just a short little high five just because I love me some Solange, and Solange freaking shut down the damn internets last week. Listen, how many of y'all went and opened up or reopened your your Black Planet .com page? I didn't even remember my Planet situation or whatever, so I just started a new one. It didn't last long, I ain't gonna lie. I just went on there for like 2 seconds and I ain't been back on there since. But just the fact that she got me to even look at Black Planet again is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And she recently put out some new music. I haven't had a chance to listen yet, but high five to Solange for just being who she is and being awesome and amazing. I can't wait to hear the new music and see what she's talking about. I heard little clips and stuff like that, and I like the visuals for the most part. I like everything that I've seen. So high five to Solange for just being the bomb dot fucking com. All right. Okay, today's reality check goes to Billy Porter, or it's really not goes to, but it's really was inspired by Billy Porter. Last week, I gave a high five to Billy Porter for that beautiful tuxedo gown that he wore at the Oscars. It was a black velvet Christian Siriano gown, and it was amazing. Well, apparently there was a lot of backlash that he received as a result of the Oscars dress. And so Billy was very unapologetic. He has continued to be very unapologetic. And when I tell you zero fucks was given, zero fucks was given. And that is what has inspired our reality check for today. I need you to really understand that people have the right to not like you. People have the right to not support you. And they have the right to not buy your merchandise and to not congratulate you when things are going well for you. People are not obligated to like you or to support you, okay? But at the same time, you're not obligated to give a fuck, all right? You are not obligated to care. It doesn't matter whether or not people like and support you. You have to like and support you first. And the more time you spend liking and supporting yourself, the more likely you are to attract people who can also like and support you. You have to give zero fucks. When it comes to people having something to say, somebody always gonna have something to say. That's what we do. We say. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying now. People always gonna have something to say about what you do, what you don't do, who you sleeping with, what you wear, what you look like, what you got, what you don't got, where you going, what you doing. Like, somebody always gonna have something to say about it, and you have to continue to give zero fucks. Because if it makes you happy, then that's all that really matters. All right? All right, I just want to give a few shout outs. Definitely want to give a shout out to Black Married Fly podcast. As you all know, I was their special guest for last week's episode. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. It's a really great episode. We talked about relationships and everything like that. I love Black Married Fly. Y'all know how I feel about Black Married Fly. We talked about relationships. We talked about, I did a little mini session with Candace and Treb, and that went really, really well. I was actually very pleased with that. Next week, we are kicking off the Heart to Heart segment on blackmaryfly.com. Heart to Heart is real talk about what it takes to exist in healthy relationships. It's going to air on the second and fourth Monday of each month on blackmaryfly.com, starting on this Monday, actually, I guess it is now, this Monday, March 11th. And the first topic is going to be how to find a real one, all right? Because everybody talking about there ain't no good men out there, there ain't no good women out there. We're going to talk about how to find a real one. And I'm really looking forward to it. So shout out to Black Mary Fly Podcast. I also want to give a shout out to my boo, my honey, Jaden Hollywood. I love me some Jaden. Jaden is an awesome, amazing person. I'm really, really happy with the direction that our relationship is going in, both personally and professionally. And so he's a great person. Y'all need to go ahead and catch up on the old episodes of Unapologetic Podcast. That's Unapologetic with a K. Check him out on SoundCloud and things like that and see what he got going on. All right. I want to give a shout out to Taina. I feel like I'm saying your name wrong, girl, which I remember the first time I met you at when we met at a pod connection. You said people say your name wrong all the time, but I feel like I'm saying it wrong. But I want to give a shout out to Taina from Around the Lectual Girl podcast on Instagram. She's at official ATL girl. She is also from New Orleans. She's a fellow New Orleanian and she lives in Atlanta. She has this really awesome and amazing podcast and she posts these videos on Instagram every day. Well, I don't know if it's every day, but she posted one on Friday that just really caught my attention and she goes hard in these videos and she's super cute too. So y'all make sure y'all check her out. Shout out to Taina and Around the Lectual Girl podcast. And what else? Yeah, I think that's all I got for y'all today. Make sure you check me out on blackmaryfly.com for the heart to heart segment. And if you want to have a heart to heart, you can definitely go to my website, latreesampsonrichards.com/heart to heart, the number 2, and sign up to come and chit chat with me or whatever. Okay. Purchase your Unicorns Talk podcast swag on the website as well. I'll see y'all on Monday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for Unicorns Talk Back. Y'all really participating in that and I really appreciate it. I love talking to y'all. People always be up in my DMs and stuff like y'all be wanting to talk to me about the episodes one-on-one, but I want us to have a group conversation about that. So I'll see y'all on Monday night. All right. Join my free Facebook group, Trust Village, a safe space for healing and manifestation. And of course, follow me on all of the social medias on Facebook and Instagram at Latrice Sampson Richards. If there's a topic or anything that you would like for me to cover, you can shoot me an email or slide up in the DMs. And if you're interested in working with me or want me to come and speak at your event or host your panel or whatever it is, then give me a holler. Support at LatriceSampsonRichards.com. All right. That's all I got for y'all today. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.